The interview of Captain Chris Nezianya for the NNSL online archive project. He was interviewed by telephone.
Okay, so you got the questionnaire, am I right?
Yes, it's right in front of me. I printed it out and it's there.
Okay, all right. So let's start with your parentage, place of birth, state, and early education.
Okay. Yes, both parents are Nigerians.
Okay.
My father is from Ukala-Okpunor in Oshimili North local government area of Delta State.
Okay.
My mom is from AZ, which is a mile different, another town, but that is Aniocha North.
Okay.
From a very good family too.
Okay.
I was born in Ukala. Ukala is my village.
Yeah.
Popularly known as UK as a result of this name.
Yes, okay.
So that's my place. It's a small village, but with very good people and happy people.
Okay.
So
that's also where you went for your primary school?
In Ukala, I probably started primary there, but I didn't like school as a kid. I just didn't like school. So, and since obviously my dad died when I was still a baby.
Sorry.
And so he was a retired policeman, and so he died when I was a baby.
Okay.
And then, so my mom, I was my mommy's boy, and when it came to going to school, I just didn't think it's necessary. So I used to chase them back. I used to.
Yeah.
But then my elder brother, who actually brought me up, then came down from the north, from Kano.
Yeah.
And he took me, so that was where I started proper primary school.
Okay.
In Kano. Started in a place called Chalawa, then finished up in St. Thomas's Primary School in Kano.
Okay.
That was where I took entrance examination. I came down south for it because my brother didn't want me to school in the north.
Okay.
That was in the 60s, early 60s. So
yeah,
I came down to Asaba.
Okay.
To do my entrance examination to St. Patrick's College, Asaba.
Okay.
And then I went on to Benin City and did the entrance examination to Immaculate Conception College, Benin.
Okay.
That was the one I finally opted for.
Okay.
So my secondary school was in Benin City.
Yeah.
Up to 1967 when the war broke out.
Yeah.
And we now had to leave Benin City, and then spent a year at home during the war, and then finally went back to St. Anthony's College, Ubuluku,
Okay.
to finish up my secondary school education.
I see. And now, did you enter NNSL from after your secondary school?
Yes. After my secondary school, we were call it Expo 70 class, 1970 class, when the war just ended, and a lot of our big brothers from the war came to join our school. They're really clever people, but for some reason, I don't know where the expo came from. So, So we had to now, our results were cancelled, and then we came back and finished in 1971.
I see.
June, July.
Yeah.
And then after that, I now went to Lagos to join one of my elder brothers there who was working in the Nigeria Airways.
Okay.
So he, firstly, I got a job in the Ministry of Economic Development and Reconstruction.
Okay.
In Tafawa Balewa Square. So I did that for 6 months, and then I got the Nigeria Airways job as a traffic clerk.
Okay.
That was quite a jolly work.
All right.
So I did that for 2 years, from 1972 to 1974.
Okay.
So it was during that time that, obviously, 1974, when National Shipping Line advertised, and meanwhile, I didn't know anything about shipping. It wasn't a career ambition of mine to be a captain or anything. I never heard of shipping as a career. And anyway, because of the advert, I looked at it. I said, I can do that. I can do that. You know, like most young men in those days. So then I was called for interview, and then I went to Apapa. That was the first time I went to Apapa.
Okay.
I haven't been in Lagos for nearly 4 years. Anyway, did the interview, National Shipping Line, told us to come back the next day, came back the next day, and I realized I had been successful. So that's how I joined National Line.
I see. And what did they interview you for? Is it as a seafarer?
Yes, we were interviewed for deck cadets.
Okay.
Deck cadets.
Okay.
And the selling point for us was that, they said you'll be trained abroad, and the training may take up to 10 years. And when you finish, you become a captain and all that. But tell you the truth, I didn't know what a captain was. I'd never seen a ship in my life. And the only notion of a ship I have was Long John Silver. You know, that is the storybook impression I got of what shipping will be like.
I see, yes.
So, but me and my colleagues, my friends, we were thinking, boy, 10 years, by the time you finish, you will get a doctor of science.
Yes.
So we actually thought that the whole training will be, classroom-based
I see.
up to 10 years.
I see.
We didn't know the nature of training.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah.
We thank God for the opportunity.
So who were your peers and people, colleagues, seniors?
Yes. We were a bunch of hot-headed group, you know.
Okay.
My peers were Captain Femi Okide.
Okay.
Captain Mohammed Afolabi. Captain Tajuddin Alao.
Okay.
Captain Ezekiel Ishola Aisho.
Okay.
So all these were my mates, and I think we had Captain Chukwu.
Okay.
And then we had Captain Musa, sadly, who died a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So those were my buddies, my colleagues.
And you still relate with them?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, because we were all similar age. We just came out from secondary school, and opportunities came. That was when Nigeria was developing fast. Remember, after the war, and Gowon was in charge, and there were lots of development. People were going abroad. Countries were providing scholarships for Nigerians in Eastern Europe, in Russia, and everywhere. So that was the destination to most people. Anyway,
so
my initial
go ahead.
So my initial destination was, I'll be going to America. America was the destination for me.
Yes.
But when National Line came, I said, damn it, okay, anywhere they take me to, I go. So that's how they brought me to England.
That's a nice. Where did you embark? You embarked in Lagos?
Yes, we embarked. We had a couple of little tests, because in those days, if you are going to be a navigator, you must have very good eyesight.
Okay.
If you have problem with your eyesight, you will lose that chance. So we had it was a bit crude then anyway. So we had the opportunity to do those tests in Nigeria.
Okay.
There was a merchant marine office in I think it was in Lagos somewhere.
Okay.
That they conducted all those tests, and then they do your documentation. You get your discharge book and all those things. So we did them in Lagos, and when we finished, our group we were sent on 7 of us were sent to travel on the river Ethiop.
I see.
So we boarded the river Ethiop, and we were shared into different cabins. It was a pleasant trip.
Okay.
And then that brought us to Hull in the UK.
Okay.
And then from Hull we took a taxi. We took the train.
Yeah. Down
to Liverpool, where we trained.
I see. So, and when you arrived Liverpool, there was somebody to receive you people.
Yes. Listen, that was the time. I'll call it the glory days of Niger Line, because Nigeria National Shipping Line, their head office in the UK was called Niger Line.
Yes.
And they had a welfare officer, a fantastic human being called Mr. Adeni Bekun. He's of blessed memory now. I think he died a couple of years ago here in London.
I see.
So he came to meet us at the train station, Lime Street, Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then, he ushered us into several black cabs.
Okay.
And then, we were really well received, and then took us to a hotel.
Okay.
Again, a merchant navy hotel.
Okay.
It was in Hardman Street in Liverpool. So that was where we stayed, and then we were confronted with the food. Oh my God!
Was it a confrontation really?
That was the first challenge.
I see.
You see the food, there is no chunky meat, there is no strong yam, there is no eba or fish head or anything, nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just flat on the plate. They say there's meat there, and then you see some gravy, and then, oh boy, it was It was interesting though.
Okay, so that was the first. You are dealing with a culture shock now.
Yeah, that was the massive culture shock we had.
Okay.
And mind you, we arrived in early September. I think around September 4th or something like that.
Okay.
And the course we had to do an initial introductory course at Riversdale College of Tech.
Okay.
So from that our hotel, we had to go by bus.
Yeah.
To the college, and they introduced us to the school and everything else. The company, National Shipping Line.
Yeah.
We had an arrangement with merchant navy outfitters that have the clothes for the young cadets.
Okay.
So we will all head out to, we're 7 of us.
Yeah.
We will head out to the shop. It was called Milarena
Okay.
Danko.
Okay.
So when we get there, they will measure us, everything, and then I think it took a couple of whiles when we came back to collect our reefers. It's called. That is the cold weather outfit for merchant marine officers.
Yes. Yes.
And then the tropical wears, the white.
Okay.
The short knickers, everything we needed was provided.
Wow.
From the cap right down to the socks and the shoes we needed.
That was great.
It was marvelous. It was absolutely marvelous. You didn't have to spend your own penny. And after that, then they'll give you a little salary. And, really, it was really good. We had a great time. All we were asked for is to study and pass your certificate.
So by now, you people were beginning to appreciate that you are on a good fortune.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although one of our colleagues, Oteshile, used to call him Otesh Baba,
Yeah.
he had already got his A levels.
Okay.
From Nigeria, but he joined us, or he was successful at the interview. So he came with us, and then we got to Liverpool. He did everything with us, but I think he had some advice, or maybe he had already been given an admission, or while in Liverpool, he realized he had an admission from University of Ibadan.
Okay.
So I think his family there maybe advised him against staying on in Liverpool as a cadet.
Okay.
And then he got a ship and he sailed back to Nigeria. And so he didn't
continue with it.
He didn't continue with the training, but the rest of us did, and we were obviously grateful to God in the first instance, for giving us that opening, see how we can interact with other people in a different environment.
Yeah.
And our training started there.
I see. And at what point did they introduce you people to go on board ship?
Okay. Our training was a bit, I think it was good, but for us, you come straight from Nigeria, you think, or you are now in a college in England, you think the challenge will be essentially much for you. Firstly, because you can't understand the intonation of the people teaching you. Because that's a fact.
Yeah.
We think we speak English in Nigeria, but our English is completely different. Nigerian English is a standard Nigerian English.
Yeah.
It is not Oyibo English. It is not English.
Yeah.
So we had to adapt fairly quickly. Obviously, cling together. The one who hears better will tell you, will whisper to you what they are talking about.
Okay.
And then gradually we'll pick it up. So they reckon that the first thing we need to do is to learn to swim.
I see.
So they took us to this swimming bath in Eggbot.
Okay.
Or was it in Speak? It was in Speak. Our school was in Eggbot.
Yeah.
So, one of the lecturers was responsible for teaching us how to swim.
Okay.
But it was just an exercise, that's all, because some of us could swim, not properly swimming, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of us could just splash about and all that, be
Yeah.
inclusive.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
but the 2 weeks and even the time we came back for phase 1 wasn't it wasn't really I will call it successful.
Okay.
Anyway, after that swimming, we now have to then learn to sail a yacht.
Okay.
A sailing yacht, a small sailing yacht.
Yes.
We have to go on with our life jackets, and then we learn to sail a yacht. You know, it was quite intensive.
Yeah.
And then obviously, the school itself had a model of a ship, a proper model of a ship.
Okay.
So there is hands-on training on it.
Okay.
Where you learn, you know, you learn the different parts of the ship, and then that's a start. You learn the different parts of the ship. You learn the terminology associated with your new career.
Yeah.
So after that, it was now left for your shipping company to provide you with a ship that you can now carry on with your training.
I see. And were the 7 of you or 6 of you remaining put on one ship or 2 ships or 3?
Oh no, they just put 2 people at a time.
Okay.
2 per ship.
Okay.
So myself and Femi Okide were sent to the El Kanemi. At that time, Nigeria still had ships that were named after significant dignitaries, historical dignitaries, and one of them was El Kanemi. So both of us went to the El Kanemi, and El Kanemi at the time was undergoing repairs in a dry dock in Birkenhead, near Liverpool.
Yeah.
So we joined the ship in a dry dock, and that was quite an educational experience too, because we were now able to see the bottom of the ship for the first time.
Okay.
We go down in the dry dock and see where they are preparing the hull of the ship, make it clean, because all those barnacles that stick to the body of the ship affect its smooth movement through the water.
Okay.
So we had a fairly good experience there. So we were in the dry dock for another maybe week or so before the ship finally sailed.
Okay. Sailed back to Nigeria or what?
Yes, the ship was sailing to Hamburg. It was on its way to Hamburg from Liverpool.
Okay.
But because we encountered a serious gale force wind, bad weather, the ship was now diverted to Amsterdam.
Okay. So
I remember our captain then was now of blessed memory, Captain Adebotolu, a fantastic guy.
Patrick Adebotolu.
Yeah. Adebotolu. I think it's Francis.
Okay, Francis Adebotolu. Yes, Francis. Yes.
Yeah. And we had a chief officer who is also now Captain Runshewe.
Captain Runshewe. Yes.
He was our chief officer that voyage.
Okay.
It was massive. So it was such because the ship left dry dock, it was empty.
Okay.
So the ship was very light.
I see.
Okay. And as a result of the strong gale force wind in the English Channel, the ship was tossed about heavily.
Wow.
It was tossed about to the extent that I suppose we probably thought we were going to sink. The ship could capsize because when this wind blows you, it really, the waves hit your side together with the wind.
Yeah.
It's quite possible ships sank in the English Channel.
Wow.
So, yes, it was a dangerous, incredibly dangerous thing we went through.
I see.
And thankfully, our brave captain and the brave chief officer at the time, they really conducted themselves very well, and the ship, they managed. I remember seeing the chief officer going up to the forecastle to anchor.
Yeah.
And then the two anchors were down at some stage, and they held us in place. Otherwise, the wind and waves could have blown us onto the rocks.
Wow.
And that would have been the end of it, yeah. So
that was a major baptism of fire.
That was a serious baptism of fire we went through.
I see. Okay.
So, everything that could break was broken on the ship. Dishes.
Yeah, cutlery,
things like that, where everything was smashed up.
Crockery, things like that.
Yeah, everything.
Wow.
So, but when we got to Amsterdam, I think most of them were replaced.
Okay.
And then we loaded and we sailed safely back to Apapa, Lagos. And when we got to Apapa, the captain treated the whole crew. We had a big, massive party. It was amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
We all remember that because we were dressed in our uniform.
Yes.
To welcome the guests, captain's guests.
Yeah.
And it was massive. It was fantastic.
I see. And were your people, did they visit you when this first time you are coming back after some months?
Yes. It was just, call it 2 months, 2-3 months.
Yes.
We were back in Nigeria.
Yes.
And yes, our relatives came, but that was a surprise. They said, I thought you were going for 10 years. You just come back.
Yeah.
So we had to explain that this is part of the training.
Yeah.
We are just cadets now. We are at the bottom of the ladder. We are learning the trade now.
Yes,
so that is how it is. So we'll be on the ship going back and forth, carrying cargo, knowing how to load cargo, knowing how to secure it, knowing before we move up, hopefully to get to captain's position. So it was great. It was nice to be home again.
That's right. And talking about cargoes, what were there mainly?
At that time, for the type of ship, they were mostly general cargo.
Yeah.
General cargoes that could include bags of salt. That could include bags of sugar, and even in some cases you could also have like rice. Again, all bagged. Not in bulk. And then we could now have like vehicles, like cars, like some buses. So general cargo and things that are created, put on crates.
Yes.
And then loaded.
Okay.
So and then you could then have the odd 1 or 2 containers to join the whole loading regime on the ship.
Yeah.
So those old ships were designed for general cargo ship with the cargo handling gears, like the derricks, and that's why those ships stayed a little bit longer in port. Instead of like the modern container ships that just are there a couple of days or hours.
Yeah, and they go. And now talking even about containerization, but eventually the containerization took over, began to, erode.
Yes, because they realized that ships make money while at sea.
Yeah.
And then you tend to spend it while in port and paying port dues and all kinds of expenses that come along.
Yeah.
Including damages to stuff and all that.
Mm.
So, and when the ship stays in a port for 1 week to 10 days or 2 weeks, you spend a lot of the money you've earned at sea.
Yeah.
So containerization came to kind of deal with that situation where all the goods are put in one container, and then the container is like a box just loaded in. So if you just load the box, you take the box out, and the ship is ready to go again. So containerization has been a very good innovation into shipping.
But because NNSL couldn't get it right because they couldn't return age, appropriately. This was one of their problems, isn't it?
Well, they could have got it right because they were not operating in isolation.
Yeah.
They were operating in a group, like you had the hook wall.
Yes.
They had they were working with what do you call it? Was it Guinea Gulf, Elder Dams, Palm Line?
Yes.
So, and these people also helped us at the initial stages of starting. So we had similar ships, and then when they also moved up, we moved up as well. Yeah, NNSL needn't have, and really, we didn't have any disadvantage when compared with the groups we belong to, the kind of liner shipping that was formed. I think where our problem showed up were when individuals realized that, oh, this is a government parastatal.
Yes.
And we can even run it as our own and no questions will be asked. I think that was I think that was the NNSL problem.
Anyway, we have gone really very far along down the line of your questionnaires, and we should be somewhere around 8 now. Some of the ships, do you still remember some of the ships you sailed on and your experiences on them?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I sailed on the river Ethiopia, like I said, the El Kanemi, the river Ogun, the river Benue. That was when Nigeria moved from naming ships according to significant figures pre-independence or about our history, then up to the Nigerian rivers. So, like in Liverpool, they used to say, oh, the river boats are coming. That meaning the Nigerian ships are coming.
Okay.
River Benue, River Ethiopia, River Gongola.
Okay.
River Gongola was one of the fastest ships we had at some stage. It was a reefer, that is, it was a refrigerated ship.
Yeah.
But then when we bought it second hand, we converted it to dry general cargo ship.
I see.
So that was a very good ship, and that was one ship when I became a third officer.
Yeah.
I sailed on that ship, myself and all Nigeria crew. We sailed to the Lebanon. That was when the federal government, how do I use the word hire, or do I use, the federal government assigned that ship to carry the Nigerian contingent, that's what I will use.
Okay.
So the United Nations
Peacekeeping
Interim Forces in Lebanon.
In Lebanon. UNIFIL.
In Lebanon.
Yeah.
UNIFIL.
Yes.
1978.
I see. Yeah.
And the master, the captain was Captain Bassi, Captain Akal Bassi.
I see.
Very good.
Akabom.
Solid guy.
Yeah.
Good man. And who was our second mate was Captain Ofia.
Okay.
Captain Ofia, the chief mate, is now of blessed memory. He was Alalade, Bola Alalade.
I see.
The young guy. Sadly he died in an accident.
Okay.
I was the third mate, and then we had 2 deck cadets with us. One, Chuba Ophili, and again, may so rest in peace, this chap, Fateye. He was the chief officer that died on the Gurara.
On the Gurara, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went to the Lebanon on the River Gongola. That was a unique voyage for us.
And I
also said
on
the River Hadejia.
Okay.
River Hadejia. Hadejia was the flagship of the company at that time.
I see.
Around 1976, it was if you sailed on the Hadejia, you were like how do I put it? Son of the soil.
It's a privileged ship or what, or something like that.
You are a top guy. You.
But why is that? God. Why is that? Because of the facility?
No, because it was a different type of ship. This Hadejia had certain mechanical equipment that no other ships had, like hydraulic hatches. The coverings of the hatches were hydraulically operated. Okay. So you have to know how to operate them. You as a deck officer.
Yes.
And then the equipment on the ship was like, as I said, the top ship, and people, even other colleagues, when the ship is in port, they come on board to just look at it.
I see. I see.
I'm telling you. So,
and then there was this issue of expatriate seafarers. That is, at the time you were talking about, were there still expatriate seafarers?
Oh yes. We still had Oyibo captains. We still had what do you call them? Some Ghanaian captains. We still had East African captains. Yes, we still had there was a famous East African captain. The chap was like a proper Nigerian. He was a young officer with us, and they promoted him to chief mate, and then to captain. I forget his name now, but he was a jolly good fellow.
Okay.
He's from, I don't know if he's from Tanzania or Kenya. We still had British officers.
Okay.
Like chief electricians.
Okay.
And like chief engineers, and then some captains. We didn't have like British officers as second mate or other ranks, or even radio officers. No.
Okay.
By this time, Nigerians and Africans have more or less taken over.
I see. Now, many seafarers, NNSL seafarers, were based in Liverpool. Were you based in Liverpool?
Yes, I was based in Liverpool because obviously that was where we started training.
Okay.
So, and then I found myself based there. But there were other people too who trained in South Africa, and then others in South Shields, other parts of UK. But they all nearly always came down to Liverpool because that's the office.
Yes.
Because that's where the headquarters, UK head office was. So if you finish your training, you have to come down to Liverpool, and then maybe you will put in a hotel, or if you have a family, stay with them, and then you come there for posting.
I see.
So that the office can post you to a ship.
Okay. So you are talking about Liverpool, Southampton, or South?
Yes. Yeah, South Shields was another place where a lot of our engineers, mostly engineers, went to South Shields.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Southampton, and at that time too, London. They had some training schools here in London. I think most of them have closed now.
Okay.
Most of them have closed now. So we still have our people training here in London, and some people made their home here too in London. But for you to be posted to a ship, you have to come up to Liverpool. And then from Liverpool, they will post you to a ship. You may have to fly out from Liverpool Airport, or you go by train if the ship is somewhere in UK here.
Okay. And you see, those families that were formed in Liverpool, someone was saying, many of them eventually contributed to the population of young footballers we are having.
Yes, that is true. It's not just the young footballers, young medical doctors, young teachers, and so on. Yes, a lot of our people, made their own contribution to the population of this country.
Okay.
A lot of our boys have, their children have graduated and pursued their careers in different fields, including medicine, education, engineering as well, and so on. So we are proud of our contribution here.
Yeah, that's right. Now, talking about the salary differences between NNSL and other shipping lines, was it preferable to work in NNSL for a Nigerian?
Yes, it was much preferable to work in NNSL because, money can't buy you everything.
Yes.
And a lot of our Nigerians who were trained and worked on board Elder Dempster ships, for instance, or Palm Line ships, some of them worked there. They'll tell you their own horror stories. Okay. Firstly, the food is Oyibo food. There's no eba, no gari, no rice and stew with yam, or what do you call it? What is that special thing we used to get? Palm oil chops.
Yes, palm oil sauce.
Palm oil chops was the real delicacy we get, and we probably get that once a month or on Sunday.
With NNSL.
Yes. So, and our people are there, the Ijaw people, Igbo people, Yoruba people, all great, camaraderie on the ship.
Yeah.
And they will cook for you. They can make certain things for you, and you feel at home.
I see.
So you feel very much at home. So the salary wasn't an issue at all for us.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It was never an issue. Yes, there are people who go out to work, but man, because the ship is like a home.
Yeah.
That's where you live and work.
Yeah.
So you're not even thinking of the salary they are paying you, because you don't need a salary while on board the ship.
Yeah.
Your salary is paid into your bank, and your wife and the family have access to it, and so on. And so it wasn't, we didn't see it as some sort of attraction to other shipping companies.
I see.
No.
I see. Now, this issue of what was your promotions and career development like? Yeah, when you look over it, did you have any reservations?
No, I've been very fortunate. I've been absolutely fortunate all my life, to be honest.
Okay.
My promotion was fairly straightforward. I obviously joined in 1974. By 19, how do I put, was this 79 or 76? Yeah, by 76 December, I was promoted to chief, to a fourth officer. Okay. 76, I was promoted fourth officer. 77, I passed my, class 2, they call it. Was it class 3? No, class 3. I passed the certificate. I became a third officer. I was a third officer, 77, 78. 78, I became a second officer. I didn't have any delays at all.
I see.
Okay?
I see.
And then when I got my class 2 certificate in 1980, around April,
Yeah.
I was promoted in July 1, as a chief officer. So, and I think that's the same passage for a number of our colleagues because, you need people, you need appropriate officers to occupy and to man the ships.
Yeah.
So if, particularly at the time, 1979 onwards, when Nigeria was now buying 19 new ships.
Yes.
9 of them being built in Yugoslavia and 10 in South Korea.
Yeah.
So, those ships have got to be manned.
Yeah.
And so most of our Nigerians, once you've got your certificate, you were elevated. And obviously, as long as you didn't have any behavioral issues or things that cause you not to have a good character and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which obviously most of my colleagues never had. Most of my colleagues were very good, very, very good officers.
All right. In total, how would you describe the story of NNSL from the good times to the time it began to degenerate and eventually?
NNSL was a very, very good company to have. It provided a great opportunity for a number of young Nigerians at the time to train and to become what they are today.
Yeah.
NNSL sadly became a bit of a nightmare the moment certain individuals felt that they were going to run the company as their own because no questions are being asked. So, and that was where, and in that case, I'll also exonerate all the technical officers because people at sea, you go where they tell you to go to, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were just like drivers, so we operate the craft.
Yeah.
Tell us to go there, we go. But if you don't provide us with the necessary stuff, necessary things, required things, then it'll be difficult to actually do it effectively or efficiently. That was where National Line started going down. And unfortunately, those who saw to it that the company became folded actually wanted to take over the ships themselves.
Yeah.
And that is where you wonder, why was that at all necessary? Why, caused the whole company to be moribund, to be, liquidated.
Yeah.
Whereas you know that the Ajaokuta, factory or something, most of the cargo to set that Ajaokuta up was carried on Nigerian National Line ships.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
And all those big projects, including NEPA stuff,
Yes.
railway stuff and all that, were carried on National Line ships.
Yes.
And when they are carried, sometimes they may not be paid in time because it's a Nigerian thing. Whereas these same people will pay promptly if it's either DEMSA or Guinea Gulf or Palmline. So that's where a lot of people helped to just wreck National Shipping Line. The officers, Nigerian officers, did not contribute anything towards the downfall of NNSL. It was purely the management from the office point of view and a number of people who were charged with cargo operations, and then you tell a whole ship, a ship that is over 100 meters long, and a big ship like that can carry a heck of a lot of cargo. You tell the ship, so no, Captain, start going to Hamburg, please. There's the cargo there waiting for you. So you want this ship to sail 2 weeks empty.
Wow.
Just carry ballast.
Yeah.
Just carry ordinary sea water to stabilize the ship.
Yeah.
All right, and then you are heading all the way to for 2 weeks at sea.
Yeah.
And then you are burning fuel. There's food on board. There's all that. You are spending all those just to go to get the cargo in Hamburg. And when you get to Hamburg, they tell you, Captain, please wait. The cargo is not ready yet. So if it was individual's business, you would never run it like that.
Yeah.
So that was where National Line started failing. The people on board the ship were doing their best to obey. Wherever they tell us to go, we went. We didn't say, no, please, I'm not going to continent. I'm going to Liverpool because that's where my family is.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Yeah.
So it is a sad story. National Line was a brilliant company with fine individuals, plenty of wonderful characters.
Yes.
That I'm very, very proud of today.
When we start distributing the blames, there's enough to go around, actually. Honestly, there seems to be enough to go around because I've talked to some people who felt that even the selling of Babati contributed, which he could have because you see
let me. That is absolutely, building a mountain out of a molehill.
Okay.
See, because but see, okay, I have to say, everybody engaged in it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But it never encroached on the cargo carrying capacity of the ship.
Yeah.
Nobody puts their babati in the hatch.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's a no-go area.
Yeah.
So if you put your babati to convenience you in your living accommodation, that is just you. And when you get there, and the reason for that is also, because the office themselves didn't kind of do their own jobs properly.
Yeah.
So what people will, we all have families. You have to do this and do that, and so when we go to England and we're coming back to Nigeria, you don't expect me to come back empty-handed. Even if I buy 2 fridges, then I give one to my sister and the other one to my brother. That's okay.
We have it. We have it. Definitely, we can say that on a comparative basis. Of course, those cannot bring down a shipping line. Yes, that
Yeah, it can never, and it didn't. And I tell you what, there was so much drama because of Babati.
Yes.
There was so much drama. People lost their focus completely in the office.
Yes.
I know how often they will bring customs to the ship to threaten the officers. And by the time the customs come and rummage the ship and everything, boy, what do they see? There's nowhere you go to the hatch and you see cargo belonging to officers. No.
Okay.
It's never done. Where they put their cargo will probably be in certain fan rooms or whatever, or a bit by the deck, and it's never an eyesore.
Yes. Well, yes.
And these people just overreacted and then lost the focus entirely.
So you were making a point about how they used to bring customs to rummage.
They bring to rummage the ship and then whisk the captain out of the ship because of personal vendetta.
Yeah.
I think and it's totally out of order.
Yeah.
Sadly, one of our former directors of blessed memory now.
Yeah.
I remember when we got to is it Tema or Takoradi?
Yeah.
We had to, we had news that if we get to Lagos, everybody will. We had to stop in Ghana to offload some of personal effects that people bought.
I see.
You know,
I see.
You know, all those things. There was no need for it, to be honest, because the cargo carrying capacity of the ship was never diminished.
Okay.
Nothing was taken from that. If there was cargo, it would be cargo.
Yeah.
But when people lost focus, particularly from the office,
yeah,
they are not looking at the actual goods we brought, we carried, and the state of the ship. You know, they started using it to victimize individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I tell you one thing. I remember myself when in 1981. That's one of the reasons why I was a chief officer then.
Yeah.
And I had got an admission to University of Wales to go and do a first degree.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I want to, because I don't want to be around a place where, you know, people are, you know, it's like they are doing me a favor by, you know, making me sail up and down, you know, losing my fun and all that. So we were in Tilbury Port. We had loaded, we were about to sail. And this captain, my so rest in peace, is also to the great beyond.
Yeah.
He came and said, "Oh, look, if we don't hurry up and sail, the superintendent in Liverpool will come to do a sailing inspection."
I see.
You know, because people have bought like carpet. Those days it was like carpet.
Yeah.
You buy,
and
you hide it away. People have bought plenty, including himself.
Yeah.
So you know, this is the thing. It was a lot of them.
Yes.
Threaten people unnecessarily.
Yeah.
You know, not the cargo carrying capacity of the ship was never diminished.
I have had a lot of seafarers, you know, make that argument, which is correct anyway. But you know, when people are summing up, you know, the totality of all the, you know, they try to bring in all these things, and there are people who have actually also made arguments this way or that. The bottom line of it is that the line eventually floundered and was liquidated, and so we find ourselves in a very, very unfortunate situation.
Yes, I think it was totally. I wish they would do some proper inquiries about that liquidation exercise, because it wasn't as if a feasibility study was done and it was realized that, oh, the best thing is to just scrap this.
No, this was a military. This was a military regime.
Yes. So
there was no feasibility.
Nothing. No. There was nothing, and that nothing was done to say, okay, it's best thing to just liquidate these people, get rid of. Did they think of the people they were making redundant?
No, but this was the military. This was a Abacha regime, and you know the way the military reacted. One-man decision. That's all. Everybody will say
yes. It was shocking.
Yes.
It was totally out of order.
Yeah.
Because National Shipping Line was doing very well in the world. I know that as a cadet, I know that people respected our ships. Our ships were well maintained, were properly trained in the British way.
Yeah.
And all our officers till today still, you know, carry that. When you are properly trained, you are properly trained. Okay. And you can't just forget it because you come from a developing country, you know. So
I'm talking about even what I was even talking about. You see, that accounts for why they can still operate even after retirement. So, which is where for you, how did you cope? Yes. How did you cope after the
okay?
How did you do NNSL, and how did you cope? You know.
Okay, that's a very good point, because obviously I left them in 1981. I went straight to university in Cardiff.
Okay.
And then when I finished, I got my degree in maritime studies.
Yeah.
So when I finished in 1984, I graduated in 1984.
Yeah.
I came back to National Shipping Line. Obviously, my ambition was no longer to sail, to carry on sailing, and be going back and forth.
Yeah.
No, my ambition now was now to do something significant within the marine industry. Anyway,
Okay.
and thankfully, I went back to sea. I went back and I sailed on the faithful Gurara. Sadly, yes, I sailed on Gurara. I took the Gurara to the Far East, to Japan.
Okay.
So that was October '84, and we came back. I think end of February '85.
As a captain?
No, I was a chief officer.
Okay.
I was a chief officer. My old man then was Captain Ogunsiji.
Okay.
Captain Commodore Ogunsiji
Yeah.
was at serious loggerheads with whoever matters in the office at the time.
I see.
So he felt that they were sending him to the Far East as a punishment.
I see.
But he is such a nice man, so obviously I, thankfully, was a cool head, and we got there and back.
Okay.
Full stop.
Okay.
So by the time we came back, I had actually been approached before we went.
Yeah.
And I applied to the World Maritime University.
Okay.
To do a master's degree in marine education and training. That was the time a National Shipping Line was nominating 4 people to go to study for a master's degree in Sweden.
I see.
In the World Maritime University. So by the time we came back from Japan, they had made their decisions, and I was one of the successful applicants.
I see.
So I now flew to Sweden. It was a UN paid for package, paid for by UNDP and IMO.
Yeah.
So I went to Sweden, spent 18 months there with I think two other NNSL staff. GM Oyelami, Captain GM Oyelami.
Yeah.
3 others. And Sule Balarabe, Chief Engineer. And Woodrow Odwaya, may he so rest in peace.
Amen.
Woody.
Okay.
Woody. So Woody was also a Chief Engineer. So we had 2 call it captains, myself and Oyelami, and 2 engineers.
Okay.
So that was how I went to World Maritime University, finished, graduated in '86, December.
Yeah.
As marine education and training, nautical.
Okay.
So I came back to Liverpool with my family, and that was when Lawan Gwadabe, who was the NNSL military managing director at the time, himself and Mr. Gerald Chidi came to Liverpool, and when on a chance meeting of both of them, they told me that, oh, Chris, you have to come back to Nigeria and you will go to Oron. You will be National Shipping Line representative in Oron.
Okay.
So I went, and my duties then specifically was to retrain Niger Line officers, most of them 4th officers, who were trained in Yugoslavia.
Okay.
They didn't have a certificate at the time, but they've been trained in Yugoslavia. So, that was at the time when the Ministry of Transport, for some reason, I don't know how they managed, because our ships were being built in Yugoslavia, made some arrangements. So these boys were not recruited by National Shipping Line.
Okay.
So, but because they now trained there, National Shipping Line was the only body that they could continue their training with.
Okay.
So my duty was now to retrain them. And while I was doing that in Oron, the school itself recognized that, this man is here, he can also be training our cadets. So that was how I became a senior lecturer, also teaching in the academy.
I see. And this lasted for how long?
That lasted for between 87 and early 1990. I left there, I think it was December 1990.
Okay.
90? No, January 1990, yes.
Okay. That is, so you were not satisfied with the situation.
No, I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed, and it was clear. But this is Nigerian dimension now. Here was I, a young man with a Oyibo wife and some little kids.
Yeah.
The acting rector, in his head, he felt, this young man who had just been coming from Walmart University, so it looks like he's going to take my job. He was an acting rector then. And I think we can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I keep saying to him, look, Oga, I don't even know Kobo. I don't know how to manage a school. I don't know how to do anything. I'm here to support you, sir.
But he doesn't believe you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you had to bail out to save your life.
Exactly. Since I didn't know all the nooks and crannies in that we call it, Akwa Ibom state.
Yes.
And this man was an Ibibio man, and he was totally unfriendly. And he showed it clearly. So when I realized, I said, even me myself, even if I can, try and save myself, what about my Oyibo wife who doesn't understand Kobo?
Yeah.
And then my young children who can just go into anybody's house thinking that they are friends.
Yeah.
We don't know what they'll give them. So that was how, and my wife wasn't comfortable there anyway. So I just quickly sent a message to National Alliance, said, please save our souls.
Okay.
And that was how I left.
So you had to resign.
I had to. I don't know if I actually resigned. I don't think I resigned. I just had National Line to request that Mr. Nezianya is to be call it redeployed or blah blah blah, something like that.
Back to Liverpool.
Yeah, back to Liverpool. And when I got to Liverpool, the head of the, call it PTA of the school at the time was one superintendent, Mr. Okwong, an engineer.
Yeah.
Mr. Okwong came all the way because he is from Oron, and he was happy that for once the academy in his town is getting a superior lecturer with connections that will raise the profile of the place.
Yes.
So when I left, they were very angry.
Okay.
And the anger went on to the GIS, the Government Inspector of Shipping.
Yes.
Who was Mr. Capt Nezianya.
Yeah, okay, Capt Nezianya, okay.
Good. Capt Nezianya then had to send, I was told, and they showed me the query, had to send a query to that acting rector. Why he made life uncomfortable for me to the extent that I had to leave.
Yeah. This was, you said this was 80 something, 86?
This no. This is now 89, 90. 89, 90. I was there from 1987.
Yeah. Is this acting rector was he from the maritime industry?
Oh yeah, he was Captain Ime Itiaidem.
Okay, I know him. I know Captain Itiaidem. Okay.
Yes, I believe he's dead now.
Oh yeah, he's dead. He's dead. I know him. I know him very well. Yeah.
So I came back to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Then what's his name, Captain Engineer Okpunor, flew down to Liverpool to ask me to come back to Orion.
Yes.
Because the plan was for me to become director. But then I looked at myself up and down. I said, no, I never reached that stage. So I don't want to make I reach there then carry out the juju fire me. I want to live long. Meanwhile, I had now started I had just finished my PGCE because I went back to university to learn how to teach, to train to get a qualified certificate as a teacher in UK.
Yeah, yeah.
So when the moment Mr. Okpunor came, I had just graduated in June of 1992. I think it probably came around, was it July or August? It probably came around that time.
Yeah.
And but as at that time, I had secured my first teaching job.
I see.
So, man, I couldn't give that all up and then dash back to Nigeria where I don't know what was there waiting for me.
Okay. So to summarize, that means that when you reached Liverpool from Orion,
yes.
That means you put in your resignation or something like that?
Yes, because they brought the query that they gave them. They brought a copy for me to see. You know, that one of those things to make me to come back. Come back.
Yeah.
So, then I wrote a heartwarming letter.
Yeah.
Because Okpunor said to me, he's not going back to just verbalize to say, oh, I met the man.
Yeah.
And he said to wait, he will come back. He said, please put it in writing.
Okay.
So I put it in writing to say, I am honored, to be wanted back in my country, and I want to do so.
Yeah.
But please, I need to resettle my family because the experience has been not so good with small children as well and a foreign wife.
Okay.
So please, I need to just give me some time to resettle my family.
Okay.
Maybe in the next year, in the new year, I will be able to be ready to come back.
Okay.
Mr. Okpunor took that letter back. So that was how I remained there.
So that means that letter was also copied to NNSL?
Yes, that letter must have been copied to National Shipping Line. Then, meanwhile, I now started teaching, stabilizing myself and, paying a mortgage and the children back in school. So I didn't want that to be disrupted again.
By anything.
By anything. So that was when NNSL now wrote me a letter saying, you spent enough of your leave and all. We understand all the upheaval, but you need to come back now.
Yeah.
That was when I now took my early retirement from National Shipping Line.
And that was which year?
1990.
1990.
Yes, 1990, because I had my years have gone 16 years.
Yes.
In that time.
Yeah.
So I was entitled to that early retirement. So
I see.
When I wrote it, they replied me, and I was properly retired from the company at that time.
Okay. That's a good one. So you still continue with the teaching career,
Yes, I carried on with the teaching career until 2012. Well, by 2007, I became a head teacher. I got a position as a head teacher.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've been teaching in Liverpool all along, but when this post came, it was in a place called Hereford.
Yeah.
In Middle England. So I went to Hereford. I taught in this school. I was a head for 2 years in the school, and then they do what they call Ofsted inspection, Office of Standards in Education.
Yeah.
And you either get outstanding, good, satisfactory, or you're put in special measures.
Yeah.
I got good. So, and statistics bears it out that secondary schools at that time, 58% of them got good.
Okay.
So I got good, and that is still on record.
Mm.
And then because of Hereford, it was like it's a city, but it's more like a glorified village. We didn't have certain things there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then I applied for one job in London. I got another job as a head teacher here in London.
Okay.
That was starting 2010, and by 2012, I had done enough myself. Meanwhile, I was now a bit fed up of working in schools.
Okay. And
an opportunity came for me to come back to Nigeria.
Okay.
My view all along was I want to come back home to Nigeria. You know, that's all of us Nigerians. That's how we want to come back home.
Yes, yes.
So an opportunity came for me to come back in 2013.
Okay.
January.
Mm.
So that was why I quickly wrote and got early retirement again from teaching here.
Okay.
And then that gave me time to come back to Nigeria. And I worked where my colleague, my friend, was the Director General of a place called NOSTRA, National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency.
Yes, I know it.
So I was a special assistant technical.
Yeah.
I managed the one boat they had, the boat called Recovery One.
Yeah.
It was a special boat to recover oil spilled from oil production platforms or anywhere else.
Okay.
So that was what I did for 3 years until 2015 when there was a change of government.
Mm.
When Buhari came in, and then, as they say, is it the fear of God or the fear of whatever? Well, the people that Jonathan put in position, he wanted to get rid, and all that issue was what I couldn't cope with again. That's what brought me back to England.
Okay. And you still have a few jobs you are doing there?
Yes, I am still doing what they call supply teaching. I still go to teach geography in schools. In some cases, I could help manage the administration of the school, all on pay as you go, not on a full-time basis.
Yeah. Which that's easier for you to manage.
Yes, at this stage.
At this stage, yes.
Very true.
I'm
grateful to God.
Yes. I think it's a nice career path, if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm hoping now that if another opportunity comes, I want to come back to Nigeria in any sort of teaching, lecturing capacity.
Okay. That's nice. So, to conclude the interview, I think we have to be very grateful to you for various areas you have touched, which I'm sure will interest various categories of members of the public, students, maritime operators, know, sundry aficionados, who love shipping.
Thank you, yes.
Who love shipping and the stories of shipping. So,
absolutely.
We thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a very, very big pleasure, Dr. Edmond Chilan. Thank you so much. You are an inspiration too.
Yes, thank you.